My name is Lynette Olsen, and I would like to tell you about my husband. His name is Darrol Olsen, and he was a chemical engineer in the aerospace industry for over 20 years. He eventually became the military field advisor on the B-2 stealth bomber program, and he was the military field advisor for the stealth material systems on the B-2 bomber. In 1995, he was hired by Lockheed Martin Corporation to go down to Marietta, Georgia, and work on the stealth material systems on the F22 fighter. When he got down to the program, it didn't take him very long to discover that they were having a lot of problems, not the least of which was that the material systems that had already been developed for the F22 when he got there, the stealth systems were not functioning in the capacity that they were supposed to. They weren't passing any of the field testing, and his responsibility was, as project engineer, to develop the repair systems for those stealth coatings. Every time one of those airplanes flies, it needs repair. And if it can't repair with itself, the material, then you don't have a stealth system. Well, initially what he discovered through his testing that he was running was that the materials were failing. And he reported this to the appropriate people. He requested to go to the Air Force to work together on these issues and was told that he needed to be quiet. He has documentation of his numerous attempts to try and make some corrections in the program. Eventually, he discovered that the materials themselves were so faulty that they were damaged by exposure to aircraft fluids, exposure to water, and even to the touch. And so he did further chemical testing, and in that testing he discovered that these materials contained high levels of toxic, hazardous materials that should never have been and had no place in the system. He also became aware that their paint scrubbers and areas that were approved for using these materials on the F-22, the machines that clean the air and keep people safe were not functioning properly, and the use of these materials was going on anyway. It was being used in unapproved areas, and there were literally a football field-sized building adjacent to this area of innocent office workers that were being exposed on a daily basis to terrible hazardous materials. He also tried to do something about this. There were engineers that were actually having materials shipped to their homes and carrying them into the engineering offices to avoid the hazmat tracking process. And so he attempted in numerous ways to address these issues as a project engineer. Eventually he was removed from his duties. He was not allowed to be around Air Force personnel when they were on the base, when they were there being trained on the aircraft. And eventually in 1999 he was fired. He has spent the last 13 years attempting to expose this terrible fraud on not only the taxpayers, but more importantly on our men and women in uniform who risk their lives for us, whose lives are at risk, not just flying in this aircraft, but in maintaining it. In 2007, he filed a False Claims Act lawsuit under seal, notifying the United States government, showing them proof of this fraud and the extreme need to do something to correct the problem, to save people's lives. It wound through the court system, and late last year his lawsuit was dismissed on one ground. And the ground they dismissed his lawsuit on was that he as an engineer could not produce sales receipts that showed that the United States government actually paid Lockheed Martin money for this aircraft. He has a story that needs to be told. There are lives at risk. We've already lost a pilot. The materials on this aircraft have no capability of performing as they should. They can come off the aircraft and be sucked into engine inlets. They put our pilots at risk. The repair of these materials is toxic and hazardous to the people that are handling it, and something needs to be done. He is willing to help anyone. He is a patriot. And heaven help this country when the day comes that someone will not stand up and be honest, even at the risk of losing their career, to help to save people's lives. We're all Americans, and we need to work together, and we need to be honest and just. His name is Darrol Olsen. He can be contacted at Darrol Olsen, which is DARROLOLSEN @gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and God bless America.